Welcome to the episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to put our final touches for now on Love is Blind Season 5. Today, we're going to talk about the reunion. But before we dive into the reunion, let's do a little bit of a recap of what went down throughout the season. Very brief recap. We saw 3 couples leave to go to Mexico, but however, we do know that there were several other couples that left and got engaged, including Paige and Josh. They shared on their Instagram page that they did get engaged. However, they have since then broken up. Renee and Carter, these two had got engaged, but a little bit of tea here, I will say, they made it all the way to the altar. Now, this has been getting out into the world, something I've known for a little bit of while now, but they said things kind of were really good in Mexico when things started to get a little rocky back home. And then she said no at the altar. Obviously, she stated that she was kind of shocked that they were completely cut out of this season. Since then, Renee is happily married to another man. So congratulations on that. And then of course there was a couple other couples. We did have Trey Trandang and Thomas Smith. Now we are in a conversation about there's a lawsuit there. I think I'm going to do a different podcast about that a little bit later. All you have to do is kind of Google that scenario. But my thoughts and good vibes to Tran and her case there. But moving forward, we saw 3 couples head to Mexico: Milton and Lydia, Stacy and Izzy, Taylor and JP. However, before we left Mexico, we saw Taylor and JP break it up because JP went on a little bit of a tirade, didn't have that connection that they thought they were going to outside of those pods. So it was down to Stacy and Izzy and Milton and Lydia. And then, of course, as we saw on the finale, we saw Milton and Lydia say yes, Stacy and Izzy said no. Where are the couples now? What does it look like? Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to, like I do every episode, I'm going to break down my running thoughts throughout the entire episode. So that being said, let's keep on rolling. We had JP with one of the biggest bonehead comments that put him at the top of the Live is Blind villain list, Izzy and his paper plates, Uche. Let me say that right so I don't get yelled at again. And his insane arc, Lydia and Milton, the rest of the cast, post-wild stuff, including the marriages we didn't see and stuff like that. We have Nick and Vanessa, starting out with our 2 couples on the couch, with Lydia, Milton, hand in hand on the couch, looking very cozy, while Izzy and Stacy on the other couch. Milton and Lydia confirm that they are still happily married. Very, very excited for these two. Milton talked about their marriage, and he said that in his past, when he would get off work, he would just prolong his day. He would just stay at work, work hard, work hard. He says now, when the time comes, he punches that clock just so that he can come home to spend time with his wife. Love that. Milton is the most mature 24, maybe 25-year-old now. Love him. I loved him on the show. I thought he has, hands down, probably the best male, probably the best overall character on this show, period. Nick asked about Milton's family. Lydia speaks up and says they have gotten closer than ever. Lydia said that that Milton, she has gotten so close to Milton's mom that they go out to gossip about Milton at dinner together. Beautiful full circle moment here. Milton said that Lydia has made his parents soft. He said he talks to his sister, who we saw in the season, was very skeptical about how they are different parents now since Lydia has been brought into their life. Again, a beautiful, beautiful full circle moment. Talking about full circle moments here, Vanessa brings up the cleaning. Milton said it's kind of hot in here. Lydia speaks up about Milton. He said he's improved putting his towels away. That's all we can do. Improving. She said someone having they asked what the best part of a marriage is, and she said someone having her back and having someone sticking up for her at all times. She said she feels so blessed. We get a little bit of a montage of Milton and Lydia's last year together. Some beautiful pictures, videos of them having a great year of marriage. They went to Puerto Rico together, and they had another wedding there. I love these two so much. Milton and Lydia said they're planning for their future, getting their finances together, which was a quick turn right over to Izzy and Stacy. We know Izzy said yes, Stacy said no. They do a kiss. We get a montage of the wedding. Blah 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 blah. We get when they were watching it back, it was very, very awkward. Stacy said she was feeling a lot of emotion because it was heartbreaking. She get a little choked up. Izzy even comforts her in this moment. She said she wanted to give him a yes, but wasn't ready. Nick brings up the finances and why he waited so long. Izzy said he didn't think it would be a huge ordeal. He said people in the pods talked about it. Stacy said, why didn't you bring it up to me? And Izzy said it never got brought up. Let me stop right here. This is a little bit of tea that I really feel like blew me away. He brings up mentioning this in the pods with other girls, but not Stacy. This kind of bothered me a little bit. I don't get how he thought it was okay to share this information with everyone but her. He thought this connection here was so strong that I'm going to propose to you, but I'm going to leave out this vital piece of information that you are in need of knowing if we're going to be engaged. Like, to me, on the surface, it looks like he was hiding it on purpose. That's the only way you can look at this. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to be that guy, but it's just a fact. It looked like he was hiding it on purpose, especially now since we find out that he talked about it. Vanessa asked what happened at the altar. The two never dated after the show. Izzy said after they said they couldn't talk, but Stacy spoke up and said they took time to stay away from each other. They met up a week or two after. Izzy said that after a few days he was struggling and didn't know what Stacy was to him anymore. The two went out on a date. He said it felt off and asked her if she felt it, and she said she didn't and couldn't. He said he was so mad at her after that because he said that they would try, and they didn't talk for a year. Stacy said to the cameras were gone and they needed to start over. And he said he didn't want to start from scratch. They ran into each other a year later, but they stopped there because apparently the story is a little juicy, and we'll get into that a little bit. Here comes Johnny and Chris. Of course, last time we saw these two, they were together, and yes, after they're still together. He says, nope, they're not. He said it just didn't work out. Johnny asked what happened after the barbecue. And Chris left and stayed away for weeks upon weeks. She didn't see him and found out that he was dating somebody else. Chris started seeing someone else before breaking up with Johnny. What? What? Chris had an impeccable arc here. He had all the opportunity to be one of the good guys. And this man, he just went from favorite to being a scumbag like that. Chris said he's living with someone and is happy to be with that person. He apologized to Johnny. Vanessa brings up having her back at the party, but yet didn't feel obligated to at least tell her what was going on with his new relationship. Fun, facts. Vanessa dropping bombs for once. Izzy and Stacy laugh at Chris' awful response. Vanessa pushes, says he defended her and yet he cheated on her. Chris keeps talking and keeps digging his grave further and further. He said it's his biggest regret and he apologized. Joni said a friend saw him with another girl and that's how she found out. Boom, even worse. And of course, Joni blamed herself. This was a very uncomfortable moment. He was in a full-on relationship with two women and didn't tell one that he was in the relationship is insane. However, Joni said she's been seeing someone they've been dating for a year. Good for her. Nick talks to Stacy and Joni about their blowout at the party. Stacy said other girls talked about Joni talking shit and they were in the position of seeing each other again. Stacy with the greatest line, I'm a Coke bottle that you want to shake, let's pop the top. And that was hilarious. Like, that was some straight Southern gangster shit right there. Stacy is talking, Joni are chatting amongst each other. Stacy says the emotions were high. Vanessa asked what Joni and Chris were talking about. She said, oh, they were just catching up. This is like a petty moment. Like, Stacy ain't having Joni shit, period. Period. You know what I mean? Vanessa said we can go round and round, but we can play the tape. They play the tape. We see Stacy snap again. I love Stacy. He apologized to Joni for what he said, or how he said what he said to her. His delivery could have been better, but he won't apologize for speaking the truth. Joni said Izzy apologized in person a year ago. She said other people still haven't apologized, knowing she meant Stacy. So Nick asked if they were connected, Izzy and Joni. Izzy said that the cast was out and about. They were out at the same bar. They talked about the same bar, maybe gave it a shot, but it was different positions. Neither of them jumped into a relationship, and have been cordial since. But, well, however, these two shared a kiss. Apparently, Izzy and Joni were making out in his Jeep. Chris walked into this bar with his new girlfriend as well. Stacy found out. She found out, was shocked because of how Izzy talked about her and made out with her. Stacy said, I wasn't shocked because I got good friends who tell me things, and it wasn't the first time he was out doing things. Again, what I got to stop and say real quick. You said just moments ago that you didn't appreciate, you apologized for how you said what you said to Joni, but you didn't, how you said it, but you didn't apologize for what you said. But months later, you were making out in the Jeep together? Izzy talked about not wanting to be a fuckboy. I hate to break it to you, Izzy, but your actions make you look like a fuckboy. Just gonna throw that out there. All right, moving right along. Vanessa, for some reason, is obsessed with the idea that hooking up means sex. I don't understand why. Whatever. Militant and Lydia's body language throughout this is great. I love that there's so much mess going on. These two are just powerful together. Izzy and Stacy reunited at a bar in Houston. They walked in. Stacy's mom threw her hands in the air, said it was Izzy. They kind of embraced a big hug. They had a chat, cleared the air. The two have a good friendship now. Izzy tells a story how he's out seeing a girl. They went to this cooking class, and then in the next room, Stacy was with her date at the time, and they were at the same place at the same time. They all found their name tags and they were grouped together, which is hilarious. Also, can I point out why Izzy's pants so short? Mike is short. Why didn't he just wear pants? Like his pants like came up to his knees. Like, I don't know, find longer pants, man. Vanessa asked about the man. Stacy said no comment about her current relationship. Stacy and Izzy apparently Stacy and Izzy had shared a kiss a little bit after this, but they said that they just were not doing it. They asked if Izzy was dating. He said he's seeing the girl from the cooking class. He said they're on a verge of making it official. Maybe he's being quiet because he's going to be on Perfect Match. Wink, wink. Here comes Aaliyah. She looks fantastic. We get a montage of Aaliyah and Lydia's relationship in the pods. Aaliyah does not look happy. Lydia said it was hard and hurtful from the bottom of her heart. She wanted Aaliyah to have her happily ever after and didn't read the room correctly. She said she saw a chance to help her and said it was a tough time and she did the best she could. Aaliyah said she felt like she came to her to get the love of, she came to the show to get this love of my experience and didn't get that. She said she set boundaries with Lydia and she didn't honor them. Aaliyah said she didn't respect what she was requesting. Nick said the producers initially thought about sending Lydia and Uche home, but both said that they didn't want to explore their relationship. After they had seen them make a connection with other people, they could tell other people about their past. Ash said, do you think the producers made the right choice? Everybody says yes. But allowing them to move forward, said, of course, she found her person. She said it was unfair. She said it was unfair to Uche, Aaliyah, Milton, and the public was way too harsh about what went down. Aaliyah said she felt they should have been allowed to stay, but let everybody know what happened. I agree with this 100% because she said that would have allowed her to put up boundaries with Lydia. Aaliyah said if they said was true, they would have put those boundaries up and she would have been able to go through the process. Vanessa asked everyone else. Izzy and Stacy agreed that they should have been able to stay. Stacy said it was Aaliyah's expense. It was at Aaliyah's expense, but 100% should have stayed. Aaliyah talks about things that were said and that said Lydia did come to the experience looking for someone. She mentioned that Lydia said to her and Uche had talked about going on the show together. Now, this is where Lydia clears the air. Lydia said she loves and cares for Aaliyah, but said that in November of 2021, her and Uche had a brief conversation about the casting. Lydia said she wants to confirm that she had no idea that Uche was going to be there. If it was up to her, he wouldn't have been there anyway. We hear Milton speak up, defend his woman. He said he will talk about his wife's character, which is better than his. And he just kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, and it was just a beautiful moment of him sticking up for his wife. He talked about Uche didn't respect his boundaries about who he was talking to in the pods. He said he knows his character and gave so much information about Lydia that was unneeded. Milton said, I truthfully don't give a shit. He said that this experiment is set up to get past little things like this, and if it's fucking real, you will make it work. Milton is beautiful. Aaliyah says that she respects the boundaries that Milton put up with Uche. Izzy said he was so proud and has grown so much. He said all the guys took bets that Milton wouldn't make it because he was 24, and look who got the last laugh. I do love that as well. In saying that, Milton said that everybody thought he was this goofy guy, get drunk all the time or whatever. He says, but one of the things that he loved about Lydia was that she confronted him on this. Love that. Leah said she is a beautiful, loving, she's in a beautiful, loving relationship that the man treats her like a queen. Preach. She met him on an R&B cruise. They was there by herself. He was by themselves. They kind of met it up and they hit it off from there. We get a montage of the last time everyone saw Uche, which was for what? Lydia's reaction to his voice was interesting to me because you could tell it bothered her, but then you can see Milton kind of comfort her. Again, just the little things, man. Just the little things. I love rewatching the scene of Milton telling him about himself. Vanessa brings up Milton showing Lydia his phone and what it said. Milton said that they might run into problems, so he showed her a safe word that they needed to get out. So they had a little safe word created in case things got weird and they wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. He showed her the oil bearer. She said, yep, and they bailed. He knew she was uncomfortable and didn't want to continue. Again, I love this so much. I love it, love it, love it. Olivia confirms that they did date after filming, but it ended for many reasons. She said, I don't think I was his type. He mentioned to a few people on the cast that Aaliyah wasn't the woman he would typically find attractive. She said, I know my worth and I'm a beautiful woman and what I deserve. She said the tone and demeanor was still ill towards her. She said they were dating. Vanessa asked if she thought she was dating the Uche she met in the ponds or the Uche that she saw at the barbecue. She said the barbecue. Nick said they offered for Uche to be there. He declined. However, I do want to say this. I spoke to Uche personally, reached out to him, asked him what he thought about this situation. He told me, and I quote, I had a scheduling conflict. I was in Mexico on business. And that is why he couldn't be at the Love is Blind reunion. Izzy said he wasn't a fan. Uche still texts Milton, but he never responds. Uche said the girls mentioned he would talk bad about Izzy. I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even know that. But Lydia said Uche texted her, I'm about to watch the show if you want to talk about it. Apparently, he sent the same text message to Aaliyah. I'm like, I hit him with a copy and paste. The day Milton got married, he said, hey, man, heard you got married. You want to talk about it? Like, that's kind of weird to me. Nick praises Milton, how he handled the situation. Of course, they closed the chapter on Uche now. And here we go. We got some more content. Like this looks like one after banger after banger after banger after banger here. They said that they were going to talk about one couple, only one couple, that got engaged but didn't make it past the getaways. JP and Taylor have arrived. Taylor looks fabulous. JP has his American flag socks on because, of course, he does. We get a montage of their relationship. Nick says, what was it like watching back? JP said it was not fun watching about, hard to go through and harder to watch. He said he should have done more. I'm not going to bore you with all these details. He said that he threw in all the cameras kind of made him nervous. And then she brought up, what about when the cameras weren't there? Nick asked if the cameras, and she said it was much deeper than that. If she thought it was the cameras and she thought it was much deeper than that. She said they were supposed to get married in 3 weeks. She mentioned it was hard watching it back and felt like she did try and it still wasn't enough. JP said it was a way to get him talking. You can't get him talking by hounding him. She said she didn't think it was, she said she didn't think he was attracted to her. She said he belittled her and made her feel less than. JP said he feels bad for it and genuinely wanted to tell her she was beautiful without makeup. She said, I forgive you. We are human. We make mistakes and don't do that to another girl. Vanessa brings up his physical attraction, but she said and Taylor said it has nothing to do with that. She said she would have judged him in the real world, but she fell in love with him. This is where I get frustrated. We all saw what JP said, and I rewatched it again just to confirm what my feelings were. Nick tries to defend JP and the makeup scene. He said, I think what you were trying to say was you're beautiful without makeup. That's not what he said. He said it in a very vile and disgusting way, and it really bothered me that Nick, and I can't believe Vanessa, who has harped on people on this very, very show, y'all had no problem throwing Uche under the bus, but you were very, very quiet in this moment. I did not like this at all. His statement weren't mince words. They were gross, they were vile, and truly disrespectful. I have no clue why we on the show to try to get JP to save face. I'm very, very confused. He said seeing her for the first time was shopping and off-putting. It felt fake, and asked if she was someone he would hit on in the bar. And he said no. Vanessa asked what she felt. She said, thank God he's tall, when she first saw him. They said this was the first time that these two saw each other since the split. I just don't understand. We ran Uche over with a car, but we're going to bring this man in on here and save his image. I just don't understand. JP said she's dating, Taylor said he's dating. Now we get to play the Love is Blind game. Before we go, who would the most likely hit on in the real world? I love Milton and Chris. They picked each other. Taylor picked Chris. Aaliyah said no one. Izzy said Stacy. I've spoken to Miriam. One of the questions, what does Miriam do for work? And it was a very heavy edited moment that really bothered her. And yet we're still bringing it up even after she talked about it on social media about how it kind of bothered her. Didn't love that at all. What song sums up your experience of Love is Blind? Milton says 98 Degrees came out before he was alive, which is hilarious because Nick offered up 98 Degrees. Lydia said Crazy in Love. Stacy said My Love Don't Cost a Thing. Hot and Cold by Katy Perry for Izzy. Silent Night and Sound of Silence for JP and Taylor, which both were perfect, actually. Thought it was hilarious. So it's definitely interesting, definitely winding down. I'm definitely intrigued by this. It's going to be interesting to see what everybody else says about the Love is Blind season 5 reunion. I cannot wait to hear you guys' thoughts. Talk about them in the comments. Yell at me, scream at me for saying somebody's name wrong. It's just me having a good time. I love this show. I love talking about this show. I hope we come back soon because, man, we all love a little bit of a mess. But my name is Ricky Valero. You just listened to Love and Reality Podcast. I'll talk to you guys soon.